there was this conflict between like how I was living and what I was putting out there, what I was
Right.
trying to purport. You know, I wasn't walking in what I believed. There's been verses where like when you read the word and you're looking for who God is in it, he speaks to you, you know, and they hit you like a ton of bricks, and it's simple. And sometimes it's just like, how didn't you see this before? The big conflict I had was something that Christ expects of us, to walk in the light as he's in the light. And at some point it just jumped out at me like I wasn't doing that. I was walking in deception and shifting shadows. I was presenting myself as one thing, but I was walking another way that conflicted with my spirit. And so like when somebody would tell me that they were grateful for me, it would cause shame, right? I would feel guilty if somebody said I love you, you know, which just made me feel broken. And it's funny how God works. He takes what like the enemy meant for evil and uses it for good, in the way that like that brokenness, he used that to draw me to where I needed to be, so that, you know, he could show me who he says I am, so that hopefully I can fulfill a purpose that he has for me. Had an interaction with Miss Adrian, the administrator, pretty early on. We did this, and she was just asking for these like little snippets of our thoughts on one of the 7 things that Christ said when he died on the cross. And I picked 2 of them. One of them was I thirst, and the other one was in reference to what Christ said to John and Mary about this is your mother, this is your son, because I didn't know much about that, right? I wanted to look deeper into it. And I was kind of proud of myself because I wrote like this really long thing about it. I went and I hunted her down, and it was just out of pride for myself, but I wanted to ask her what she thought about it. And she was like, oh yeah, I remember yours, because yours was pretty long. And she challenged me. And she asked me, she was like, I can see that you have it here, but do you have it here? And it made me supremely aware that there was some obstacle, even though I didn't recognize it when I first came to the Potter's house, that there was an issue between me and my relationship with God that was cutting off an outpouring in my life. But in that moment, it made me very aware of it, that I needed to work on that and figure out what was going on. So, I mean, that was like the initial thing. She asked me one question, and she asked me what my future looked like about, and I gave her pretty much the same answer about ministry. And she was like, well, I can tell you have a servant's heart, and I can tell that you want to help other people, and I can tell that you love other people, but do you love yourself? And I was like, why are you doing this to me right now? Like grabbing tissues, and I'm like, are you serious? Why would you ask me that? But I mean, I needed to answer that for myself.